Shalom, people. This is Brother Lyles coming at you with another video. And as we see the escalation of wars and rumors of wars across this globe, we think back to the vision that Daniel had of the Antichrist and the Antichrist kingdom. And remember, there has always been many antichrists that have been on this earth. It's not one antichrist, but there have been many antichrists, and that we know that America as being the military arm of Babylon, that the president that presided over these United States, whoever that was, no matter what party, has been a type of antichrist. He wasn't the antichrist, but he has been a type of antichrist. And why do I say that? The Bible says that one of the characteristics of the antichrist would be he would worship the god of forces, meaning the god of war. And we know that America came out of Great Britain, where the sun never sets on the British Empire, and they were a warlike people, you know. But we know that out of Britain came America, and America assumed the battle axe. America assumed to be the military arm of the beast system, the New World Order, whatever you want to call it, and that England remains the economic, at least for right now, arm of the New World Order. I think that's quickly going to go to China. Even with the problems that China has, I still believe that it's going to switch over to the dragon. But for right now, still the West, that America is still the battle axe. But I think that's going to end up leaving. But for right now, we know. Why do I know that America worships the God of forces? Look at all the things that promote war in this country. Look at some of the holidays. Look at some of the movies that come out. Look at, the warlike mentality of America's foreign policy. It worships the God of forces. Even with this thing of Ukraine, a lot of people don't want to, receive it or acknowledge it. But this thing from Ukraine goes all the way back to the fall of what they call the Soviet Union. I was in the U.S. military at the time that the quote-unquote Cold War was going on, and that from the very time that the Soviet Union failed, that America and others seen the vast amount of land and people or whatever that they would try to maybe conquer or whatever. I believe was yet deceived, because if they had read the Bible, they would have seen that the power eventually was going to go back from the west back to the east. But anyway, they have had eyes on encircling Russia after those satellite nations that they had conquered after World War II failed, and America was going to try to, through NATO, was going to try to add all those different countries that were former Soviet countries into NATO, and therefore strangle the noose on Russia, right? But it was one thing that threw some people off, was the fact that you had the rise of communist China, which took on a form of capitalism. But that's beside the point. The warlikeness that I want you to see that the West had is that as the Soviet Union melded into what we call Russia, the Federation of Russia, right, is that Russia had told them, look, we still have nuclear weapons. We are still nuclear capable, even though we've done all these armament treaties where we dismantle our nuclear warheads and different things, and you dismantle some of yours, yet we still are capable. And as the Soviet Union came into a own form of their capitalist system somewhat, and they gained money and stuff, their technological prowess, somewhat improved after they broke apart this massive thing called the Soviet Union, and that they were seeing a rise again where they could now tell America, even though we were down, we are not out, and we are not in agreement with you doing all these different things to add these nations that were once our satellite nations to your NATO. And if you do that, you're gonna cause us to go to war with these once satellite nations that were part of the Soviet Union. But of course, American foreign policy, because they are worship the God of forces, said no, we are going to do that. And so that now that we see that in 2014, Obama started the ball rolling with certain things where he was, his foreign policy helped bring down a government in Ukraine that was friendly to the Russians and brought in the one that was remnants of the Nazis that had invaded Ukraine, and that he was bringing in these Nazi sympathizers into power, giving them training, weapons, and all these other kind of stuff, which they try not to report in the news, but is there, right? And that this through different presidents have led to what we have today with the war, and America selling all these arms and different things to Ukraine, because the tremendous war debt that America had from Iraq and Afghanistan, that the war profiteers that lent the money, right, to America now wants their money back, and therefore, because they still owe it, is through war that they get it. And so now that we see the stuff that's going on with China, which is kind of idiotic to me, if you know that a lot of your products come from China, why would you make China an enemy when you got all this stuff that's coming from China that you don't think that China could, cut off supplies and stuff? But that now America is escalating the thing with Taiwan, where the Chinese had told them, look, Taiwan is part of us. We will not stand by while you try to do what you did to us, that you did to Russia by shipping in all these arms and different things to Taiwan to try to cause a stalemate between us. But that's what America is doing. America is getting ready to sell over $1 billion in arms to Taiwan to stave off China, even after China has always told them, we have always had our eyes set on bringing back those people that had escaped mainland China into Taiwan back into the fold, because we won the Civil War, and therefore they have no right to run off into this island and make a separate nation. But America worship the God of forces, and therefore they can't help themselves but to intervene, and now to sell some of the same high technology weapons to Taiwan that would cause them to give a brief challenge to China, not a serious, because it's an island and because it's right next door to China, they would vanquish. But that America also is not as strong and as powerful as it once was, where when Ukraine, they had Ukrainians thinking that if Russia came in, they was going to help them. They've only supplied weapons, because America has no intention of going into a nuclear war with Russia because of Ukraine. And it's going to be the same for Taiwan. Although this country worship the God of forces, look at all the shootings and killings and all this stuff that's going on, yet it's not as powerful as it was to challenge the Soviet Union and China in a real head-to-head war with nukes. We would lose if those two combined against us. And so that they're more like being a pest, a deterrent to Russia and China by arming their enemies and it's kind of like staving off the inevitable. The inevitable is that Ukraine is going to lose. The inevitable is that if Taiwan goes to war with China, they were gonna lose, and America is not gonna help them. But they're giving them that impression that they are, and Taiwan is taking the bait. But America is the war profiteers is about profiteering more than victories now. World War II was the last so-called victory for America, where they was concerned with winning. Right. Everything else after that has been war profiteering. Korea, Vietnam, the Iraq War, first Iraq War, second Iraq War, Afghanistan. All of that was war profiteering. It's always been war profiteering. But I'm saying that the semblance of we coming back home victorious and stuff, that's been over, right? It's always been about the God of forces and this country making its money off of the blood of people. And so that we must be very prayerful of got some of our brothers in Africa that are going over there and fighting with Ukraine against Russia. And then they got some of our brothers in Africa that are going with Russia to fight against Ukraine. And no doubt if Taiwan goes to war with China, there's gonna probably be some of our people that's gonna go with Taiwan to fight against China. Don't get mixed up in it. You already see right now that they're having difficulty recruiting people into the United States Armed Forces right now. They're having to think about lowering the standards in order to fill the ranks again, because people seen what happened with Afghanistan. They seen what happened to Iraq, right? And they understand, right, that it's not going to be a video game war. That when the enemy shoots back at them, it's not going to be, a recording saying game over. You're going to die. And these youth today, they're more concerned about maybe, getting out here and, doing TikTok videos and different things like that, Twitter and all these other kind of things outside of the gangs. Now, in the gangs, you're not going to get the gangs to join the military. You're not going to get them to do that. They want money. They realize they're making more money on the street than they would in the military. They're not going to do it because there's so many people out here that's strung out on drugs that to them is to fill a white unto harvest of potential people that's going to get on drugs. So they're not going to join the military, but they are going to war on the street over the turf because America is worshiping the God of forces. Therefore, the Bible said we as believers in Yeshua, as Hebrew people, although we must be ready to defend our homes, we must be ready to defend our lives. We should, if we have a legal right to carry, we should carry. But ultimately, we need to follow peace with all men if we can. Yeshua said, Paul said, if it lies within you, follow peace with all men, but especially those of the household of faith, especially our people in our different communities, right? Let's try to keep peace, not follow this God of forces where America is going out and its foreign policy is to threaten people and to send arms to their neighboring country to start up coups and wars and different things. We are not to be of that nation. Think about what Yeshua said to James and John when they was going through Jericho, and Yeshua wouldn't stop in Jericho to speak to the people. And I think James and John said, hey, you wouldn't want us to call fire out of heaven on these people? He said, you know not what spirit you are of. You are of that war of forces bringing in destruction, right? Now, Yeshua is bringing destruction to this earth. And we thank the Most High that He is causing the nations to loosen their grip on us now. Now is the time for us to break free. But we don't glory in the war. We glory in the freedom that it's going to bring, right? Because war will bring destruction. It will bring destruction. But if we can avoid destruction, then we can. But if not, just like Yah told Abraham, hey, I won't destroy Sodom and Gomorrah if you can find so many people in there that's righteous. But he couldn't. He said, so because they're not, I'm going to bring this destruction. But I'll give you a chance. And so this must be our understanding too with this. You know, they're going to try to push this patriotic thing if China and Taiwan go, just like they did with Ukraine. Don't fall for it, right? Let's keep our eyes to the clouds, waiting for our King, Yeshua, to come and to put down the armies of heaven so that we can turn our swords into pruning hooks, right? And go into an agricultural-based society where there's not no more hunger and war and famine and all these different things. But these things shall yet come. And even after America goes down and China rises back up, right? There's still going to be, it's going to take Yeshua to come down here to put the armies of the earth down and bring about that peace. But until that time, let us speak peace around our situation. So with that, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment. I'm going to ask you to give this video a thumbs up, and I'm going to ask you to subscribe. Be blessed.